this month.
Welcome to Aarhus, Denmark.
The 2018
Hempel Sailing World Championships. 10 Olympic classes.
There is an enormous pressure.
I think it's going to be a good battle.
Really, it's a special event.
Finally, it's time to go.
Plus, more World Championship action with the TP52s in Portugal, where we get aboard one of the latest designs. Every 4 years, the 10 Olympic sailing classes come together to hold their World Championships in a combined event. It's the biggest regatta in dinghy sailing outside of the Olympics. And this time, the festival atmosphere, the blazing sun and the warm welcome of Aarhus set the scene for 11 days of hot competition. Along with the chance to win personal glory with a world title, sailors also had the chance to qualify their nations for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. The event was also a first for a combined Sailing World Championship, with kiteboarding joining the programme. But the Hempel World Championships delivered more than just medals. As Olympic hosts, Japan qualifies in every class and has been working hard to build competitive teams. One of the best medal chances for the Japanese sailing team come the next Olympics is in the 470s, where the women's and men's teams have been working their way up the rankings. Among the 4 Japanese women's teams, Ai Kondo Yoshida and Miho Yoshioka were leading the way.
A home Olympic Games is something really special. Everyone in the squad wants to represent their country. Within the camp, we have some great teams putting in a lot of effort. It's so exciting working together.
We set up a boot camp where we do physical workouts and we practice on the water all the time. It's good having so many boats training together, which some other countries can't do. So that's the strength of the Japanese teams. Working and racing together helps us all, and that's the important part.
With this team, we have not achieved the podium yet at a top-level event. So winning a medal here means achieving something new. If we can do that, we can hopefully achieve a podium at the Olympic Games. But step by step, always with the aim of getting closer to the podium in 2020. But this is the first step.
Yoshida and Yoshioka only scored 1 win in 7 races in the opening stages and had 2 6th places to count. But their consistency delivered a 5-point advantage as they entered the medal race. Behind them, the French pair, Camille Lecointe and Aloise Retornaz, appeared to match their Japanese opponents with just 1 win in the selection series. Yet slipping a place here and there was enough to allow a gap to open up as they headed into the medal race. Here, finishing 5th was sufficient to place them on the podium for the first time while delivering them gold.
And set it all up now for Tokyo 2020, surely.
I was very nervous today, but we concentrated on our racing for the medal race and got the gold medal. I'm so happy.
I have been nervous since the beginning of the regatta, but we were steady in the medal race, and then finally the best result came to us.
The men's 470 delivered further success for the national team. Ironically, it was the one nation who didn't need to qualify who had the most hotly contested selection process. No fewer than 9 Japanese boats were out to prove that they were the best. During the early stages, Sweden's Anton Dahlberg and Fredrik Bergstrom were quick to seize the opportunity with a win in the opening race, a feat they repeated again in the last of the 10-race series. With just the medal race to go, the Swedes had squeezed a 6-point lead over their nearest rivals, the Japanese team of Tetsuyo Isazaki and Akira Takayangi, who were tied on points with French sailors Kevin Peponnet and Jérémy Millon. In the end, it was the French that took gold.
And the French, Peponnet and Millon, crossed the line in third place. And that has been enough to seal the gold medal position.
This week has been really, really long. It's like 8 days of sailing, I think so. I never sailed that much.
The Japanese pair took silver, and the Spanish team of Jordi Chamard and Nicolas Rodriguez took bronze.
I'm disappointed but also happy. I have really mixed feelings at the moment, but I'm glad we got the silver medal.
I'm happy to have taken the silver medal. We got close to taking the gold medal, so I'll practice more and more to get the gold medal next time.
Representing Japan!
For Team Japan, the result could barely have been better. Both the men and women's teams were continuing their steady march to the top. As each medal ceremony celebrated new world champions under a shower of champagne, it was clear that Aarhus was also delivering a string of first-time success for sailors and nations, sometimes in fleets with the hottest competition. Hungary's Zsombor Berec was the first to set the trend in the Finn fleet. Max Salminen from Sweden was the favourite, having pulled out an 8-point lead. Berec would need to beat him by 4 places to take gold, a big ask. But after Salminen tripped up on the first leg, Berec saw the opportunity and grabbed it.
The Hungarian is in the lead after the first leg of this medal race in the Finns. And now it's a short final leg to the finish line. He's talking to himself, telling himself to stay calm. Zsombor Berec crosses the line to win the medal race. Dejection on board the Swedish boat. Max Salminen with a 7th place finish. He'll have to make do with silver, and gold goes to Zsombor Berec of Hungary.
This is the biggest dream can come true in a twin sailor's life, and this just happened. I worked hard for it, but still, it's a big thing.
It's your world champion.
The World Championship victory was his first. The gold medal, a first for Hungary. And he wasn't alone. Emma Plashart delivered a first sailing World Championship for Belgium in the laser radial. During the build-up to the medal race, she had amassed an 11-point buffer. All she needed to do to keep gold was to beat second-placed Marit Bouwmeester.
Now Marit Bouwmeester of the Netherlands. This is the battle for gold, remember. She crosses the line, but Emma Plashart is right behind her. The yellow bib of the overnight leader. She holds on to that gold medal place. It's gold for Belgium. Emma Plashart claims the first world title for Belgium.
Well, I know Marit is really good in gaining boats, so I was a little bit afraid that she would jump over me, but yeah, I gave it all I got, and I'm so happy to come away with the win. It's really good. Yeah.
For others, simply getting to the medal race was special. Austrian 49er FX sailors Tanja Frank and Lorena Abicht were in the lead going into the medal race. This was new territory for both.
We have not competed in many medal races before, so actually it's quite new for us. So I think we also have to see this opportunity to train it, because hopefully in a few months or years we're going to have lots of medal races.
Their 11-point margin over second-placed British sailors Sophie Wegelin and Sophie Ainsworth was a handy buffer. But despite leading the race for the first half, there was drama to come.
Oh, we've got a capsize, and those are our leaders.
This is essentially disaster for them. That's the one thing that could take them out of gold medal position.
Righting the boat quickly, the Austrians kept their cool.
And by my calculations, that means Frank and Abicht will cross the line for silver, and gold has gone to the Dutch.
It's been very hard. It's been so changeable, and also this last race, it just changed in the last lap. And with the lightning, it just sums up the week. I think it was an amazing week, but very intense.
Freaking speechless. Oh my god. Oh my god. Big relief. But we're happy to have a silver medal at the World Championship, and yeah, that's all that counts.
Others were no strangers to the podium, but new to their class. Switching from the 470 to the 49er just over a year ago proved no problem for the Rio gold medalist and his brother. Simi and Mihovil Fantella from Croatia dominated the 49er class to take gold at their first attempt.
Sailing is sailing. The boat is the tool that you have to learn how it works, and then everything else is the same. The tactics, the strategy, the mental part, everything is the same.
Former America's Cup helmsman Nathan Outteridge has been international moth and 49er world champion. For Aarhus, he teamed up with his sister, Hayley, to have a go at the Nacra 17. With barely any time in the boat, they came away with silver.
We sailed really well all week, and we were saying on the way home we raced in the strongest winds we've ever sailed the boat in this week and managed to survive and excelled in the lighter winds.
But there was one team that ran away with the medals. Stay with us to find out who. Plus, more World Championship action as the TP52s head to Cascais. And extreme racing in Cardiff. Welcome back. A runaway success at the World Sailing Championships in Aarhus and a head-to-head catfight in Cardiff. But first, the pressure ramped up in Cascais, Portugal for the TP52 World Championships. Midway through the TP52 Super Series season, the fleet rocked up in Cascais, a popular seaside town on the Portuguese Riviera. And with 2 America's Cup teams in the fold this year, the onlooking crowd were anticipating big breeze, big waves, and some big personalities to be on show. And they didn't disappoint. The event opened with perfect conditions, with the Italian team, Azzurra, skippered by Guillermo Parada, and Doug DeVos's American flag Quantum Racing leading the charge. The pair were taking turns on the podium before the Italians had 2 disastrous races, leaving them 7 points adrift of Quantum Racing after 3 days. The underlying message was clear. This season's racing continues to be agonisingly close. The fleet is more evenly matched than anyone can remember. Owners have spent huge sums of money building new boats and gaining an edge. But what makes a TP52 tick? What are these complex systems that the class has become so famous for developing? And why are the TP52s considered to be the most advanced racing monohulls in the world? The World Sailing Show climbed aboard one of the newest boats in the fleet for a guided tour.
Here we are on board Team Provetza. As you see, all the boats are a 52-foot long boat, and they're all very much in a box rule, but every boat has its subtle differences, and this is what's developed over the last sort of 15 years really of this Formula style class boat. The main sheet trimmer sits up here on the high side. Mainsail trimmer uses lots of different controls to set up the mainsail, which is the driving force behind any race yacht. Down at his feet, he's got lots of control lines so he can control everything. And so he gets to sit comfortably next to the helmsman and communicate with the helmsman to talk about the mainsail shape and how they're driving the boat. The main sheet trimmer has a lot of controls here on the side deck as well, which are deflectors. So up on the rig, we've got the running backstays. They have deflector strings on them, which are controlled by hydraulics. And these are the little control lines which control those. So once again, the main sheet trimmer has so many controls at his fingertips, right where he sits. What you'll see on board the boat are lots of orange dots. Now the orange dots aren't a part of the design for how the boat looks. It's actually a very crucial part of how we trim the sails. What we utilize is the same color orange bands on the sails, and then the same color orange on the deck. We have a camera at the top of the mast which then uses these as the datum point and then sees where the sails are at any point. And that gives the sail designers a lot of helpful information about how to create the best shape. What we've developed within this class and many others is a lightweight ceramic coated winch. These are called air winches, and there's not a lot going on inside the winch other than purely the control cogs and the ceramic drum. So this is a development which is happening right now and making stuff a lot lighter and stronger, and that's the beauty of the series like this. The development in the rigging has gone to carbon fibre, and you get a lot lower profile. What we've done now is we've terminated with the carbon right down to the deck, which reduces the windage dramatically. So as we open the hatch here, you'll see some interesting developments. Most notably, you'll see is a big curved area and a big curve through the hatch. The spinnaker itself goes flying through here, and we use what's called a drop line system, which is a rope from the back of the boat, goes all the way up into the sail. When you drop the sail, it pulls the whole spinnaker straight through this, all the way to the back of the boat in up to 4 seconds. So that's a really, really quick drop. So you can imagine that all this area here is really smooth. There's nothing that's going to snag on this area. This is a huge advantage at the bottom mark to get that spinnaker away and going upwind really, really quickly.
But while Lise was happy to show us around on deck, heading below decks was not an option. Back on the racecourse, Azzurra needed to reignite their early regatta form if they were to challenge Quantum for the title. The Italians came back with a win in race 6, only to slide down the field in race 7. Finding consistency was proving hard. In the gusty, shifting breeze, Quantum weren't finding life easy either, and found themselves staring at the fleet's transoms on a couple of occasions. The final 3 results spoke volumes as to how close this battle at the front had been. Quantum's 1st, 5th, 1st scoreline was so nearly matched by Azzurra's 1st, 5th, 2nd. But nearly isn't enough by far in the TP52s. By the end of the regatta, De Vos's Quantum Racing won the event by 4 points over Azzurra. The new 2018 World Champions were now 19 points ahead in the overall Super Series standings.
Close barely does the Extreme Sailing Series justice. After 4 days of intensive racing at the Cardiff Act, Arnaud Sarafagis' Alinghi headed into the double points final race just 1 point ahead of their Danish counterparts, SAP Extreme Sailing Team. Third place finish for Alinghi was sufficient to beat SAP and take the Act win. Oman Air were just 1 point behind in third. Alinghi continued their overall lead.
We started the day really well with 4 bullets in a row. Then we had the break and maybe we got too quiet for a bit, and it was a little bit harder to come back in the game. Everything went all well on that race, and we're really pleased to win here in Cardiff.
Next stop, San Diego for the penultimate act.
We survived would be the description.
Don't be afraid, just have fun.
When the breeze was up, the racing in the NACRA 17 fleet was spectacular. Going into the penultimate day of racing, Australians Nathan and Hayley Outridge were leading by 3 points. What no one knew at the time was that this race would be the decider, as a lack of breeze on the final day would deny the fleet its medal race showdown.
It has been confirmed as all clear, and the Australians come away down this near side of the line. Here comes Paul Koloff and Alicia Stuhlheimer of Germany. Reached the top mark first. The Italians have taken the lead at that bottom gate, because there are the Australians and the Germans are only coming through now. So the Italians, Ruggero Tita and Caterina Banti, starting 5th overall, have taken the lead. Penalty turn on Nathan Outridge's boat. our overall leaders, already struggling in this race.
After 3 quick-fire races, it was Tita and Banti that took the final race win and launched themselves into gold. And come the final day, once the medal race had been abandoned, that's where they stayed. In addition to the individual success of the sailors, 33 nations qualified for the 2020 Olympics. Great Britain was the first country to succeed in all 10 Olympic classes. But when it came to winning medals, it was the Netherlands that came out on top, winning 6, 3 of them gold, to take the President's Trophy. In the RSX, they'd taken gold and silver in the men's class in the medal race.
I remember back in 2014 when I joined Thor and Aaron, there was the pressure coming from the boys being like, hey, one day we're going to step it up and we're going to have a 1-2. So it's been a long time coming and we've just been training really hard for it. And yeah, I'm just super stoked that we could do it now here in Aarhus. It's amazing.
They had taken gold in the women's RSX.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm world champion, so can't complain.
In addition to the 49er FX gold, the Dutch team went home with a silver in the laser radial and a bronze in the fin. Not everybody was looking at overall results on the racecourse. Some saw the bigger picture.
I think it's a great event, first of all for the sailors, but also for Aarhus and Denmark. And getting the atmosphere here, it's really full of the sporting and Olympic spirit. So it's really exciting being here.
In our business it is, if you come second, you don't get the order. So there isn't actually a silver medal. But I do also appreciate that there is an enormous pressure, also publicly, on the sailors that you don't get on the business world necessarily. So that's why I like to see the two work together, and we have some of the best of the sailors to really come and say, what does that feel and what does it do with your head and your mental preparedness when you're a professional sailor.
But one fact stood out for all. Win, lose or draw, Aarhus mattered.
Wanna take you somewhere where the leaves are falling. Colour my heart, 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 colour my heart,
Next month, big news from the America's Cup.